You're listening to The Manning Report with your host, James David Manning. The news behind the headlines.
We have a clip, and I want you to listen to it, where Tribulation Trump is making the statements. And there's so many people that's within the White House that don't like the things that they have heard from Tribulation Trump. And so you wonder how all of this information is being leaked. Well, it's obvious. There are people who do not support Tribulation Trump, even within his own White House. And it has been that way from the very beginning. But let's roll this clip, and I'll be back with some more comments.
A stunning new report just out from the New York Times. I want to read part of what is in this report coming from Michael Shear and Julie Hirschfeld Davis of the Times. This is based at least partially on a meeting that was happening in the Oval Office. And according to the Times, this article is based on interviews with more than a dozen White House and admin officials directly involved in the events of this week in March. Here's what it says, key passage. Privately, the president had often talked about fortifying a border wall with a water-filled trench stocked with snakes or alligators, prompting aides to seek a cost estimate. He wanted the wall electrified with spikes on top that would pierce human flesh. After publicly suggesting that soldiers shoot migrants if they threw rocks, the president backed off when his staff told him that was illegal. But later in a meeting, aides recalled he suggested that they shoot migrants in the legs to slow them down. That's not allowed either, they told him. And at another point, he said, "You are making me look like an idiot," to some of these aides. He shouted, adding in a profanity, as multiple officials in the room described it, "I ran on this. It's my issue."
His aides are making him look like an idiot. Really? Really, Tribulation Trump? Your aides are the ones making you look like an idiot? No. You are an idiot. You make yourself look and sound like an idiot. Your aides have absolutely nothing to do with it. Your aides are telling you what is right. That's their job, isn't it? But no, not for Tribulation Trump. With Tribulation Trump, no matter what he says or does, he expects you to just follow. He expects you to just support him. The fact that he wanted to put spikes on there that would go through their flesh, and the aides are telling him, sir, you can't do that. But Tribulation Trump gets upset. What do you mean I can't do that? And has a tantrum like a little baby. I don't know how we can stomach this. I really don't know. It is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable to sit here and listen to who is supposed to be the president of the United States. Big grown man sitting there and getting upset with his aides because they're telling him the right thing. You know, what it reminds me of is like a child. You know, children don't like to be told the right things. And myself as a mother, when my children do something wrong and I am correcting them or chastising them, they get upset. They're children. They don't have any common sense. That's why God gave them parents. It's the parents' job to teach them and lead them the right way. But they get upset when you correct them, or when I'm correcting my students. Sometimes they get upset. Sometimes they get an attitude. But Tribulation Trump, here is a man who is 73 years old and getting an attitude, getting a hissy fit, speaking in profanity and yelling at his aides because they're telling him the right thing to do. How the hell can anybody support a man like this? You have got to be crazy. I mean, just listen to the things that he says. Just watch the things that he does. How could you, if you have a sensible mind, and you don't have to be a genius, but if you have any kind of if you have any kind of logical thinking, how could you support a man like this? I mean, it is quite unbelievable that we are living in the days that we are living. We went through a lot with the long-legged Mac Daddy. There's no doubt about that. He is as wicked as can be. And I'm talking about Obama, if you don't know who the long-legged Mac Daddy is, because of what he did with the Word of God. And now dealing with Tribulation Trump, there are no words. There are absolutely no words that people can still sit up there and make all kind of excuses and make all kind of accusations and threaten people who say anything negative about this so-called president. I mean, just step back for a second. Just think for a second. Ask the Lord to give you some kind of common sense. I know that common sense is not so common, but step back for a second and look at what you are supporting. Listen to what you are supporting. Are you serious? Do you mean to tell me you are willing to go down to devour your very soul for the likes of Tribulation Trump? And again, don't tell me that nonsense about, oh, well, he's doing a great job with the economy. It's going so well. Nonsense. Where is your integrity? Where is your honor? It is quite unbelievable to me. I mean, it's just quite, I know that we are living in the midst of the tribulation. I understand that clearly. And I know that we are going to see and hear things that we have never, ever seen or heard before. But again, sometimes this feels like the Twilight Zone. Sometimes it seems so unreal that we are living in the days that we are living. And there are actually people who are, and I'm not even going to call them gullible or naive, but who are wicked enough to sit here and stand here and support this nonsense.
This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.